Hey, welcome everybody to Now Nation Huddle. This is where we bring aligned EXP leaders in order to grow faster and more powerfully together. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
just want to make sure. Do we have Wendy here?
I'm
Yes.
Oh,
here.
there she is. Okay, good.
Good
Um,
morning.
Good morning. Nice to see you. So let me go ahead and finish a couple of things and then we'll get started. So, as I mentioned here at the huddle, we are basically bringing EXP leaders together to combine our unique strengths, experiences, and visions. And so, therefore, we can elevate our value proposition and create greater impact and accelerate growth across every single organization, building something together that none of us could achieve alone. So I wanted to show our leaders, but I guess it's gone. Can we go back to that? It's such a pretty slide. I know I have it. Okay, maybe not. Let's go
If you
back.
just back it up a little, yeah, and then you can
Here we
pause,
go. So
Michelle.
here we go. Well, okay, here we go. These are our Now Nation Huddle leaders. We've got Amir, Russell, Randy, Courtney, myself, Tom, Jackie, Don, and Matthew. So those are your leaders for the huddle. And just so you remember, we run the huddle with a basketball theme, which means every single week of the month is called a quarter, focusing on a key area of growth and momentum for your business. So the first quarter is tech and AI. The second quarter is lead gen. Third quarter, systems and process. And fourth quarter, client presentation and engagement. And if we have a fifth week in the month, we're going to do something called overtime, which we feature something related to agent attraction, leadership, some type of really special guest that you don't want to miss. So before I introduce our guests, I want to remind everybody, please put your camera on, mute, and participate in the chat. And without further ado, our guest today is Wendy Forsythe, Chief Operating Officer of eXp Realty. She has over 25 years of experience in this industry. She is a speaker, a podcast host, and the author of Leverage Your X Factor. And through this framework, she helps agents leverage their X Factor to stand out and win. So good to see you, Miss Wendy. Thank you for being
Oh,
here.
I was snapping photos there. Hi, everyone. Great to be here with all of you.
So good to have Wendy with us. And we're going to do something a little different today with the huddle. We thought what we would do is do rapid fire questions. We're going to get super tactical with Wendy, run through all these questions. Please, please, please engage in the chat. This is an awesome opportunity to chat with the one and only Wendy. If you haven't met her, she's just amazing. So thank you so much again for being with us. Wendy, you want to say
Thank
a
you.
little bit
Like
about
Coach
yourself?
Randy's giving me some love there. I love that. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you, Michelle.
Yeah, no problem. Say a couple things before we get started.
I so let me just say, wow, like you guys, Now Nation, like what you've all done and are building together. It is amazing. I want to say I'm proud, but I'm proud of definitely the initiative and the momentum and just building with such heart and such commitment to, each other and your businesses and your passions and your family. And I love the alignment of that. So it has been such a delight getting to know Michelle and Courtney and Randy and Dawn and just everyone that leads this mission. So you guys are the heart of what makes EXP special. And I get asked that question a lot of what makes EXP different from some of the other companies that are out there. And the reality of it is that culture is a very hard thing to use words to describe. We feel culture, we experience culture, we feel the passion of people, we feel the commitment of people to one another. And I wish I had the appropriate words to be able to tell outsiders what that's like here at EXP, to truly be in an environment where we all want each other to win. And we have, time like this where we're pouring into each other and just opening up the playbooks to say, like, here's what I do in my business. Here's what I'm seeing other successful agents do in other markets. Here's something you might borrow and try. Like, that is truly part of what I call the special sauce of EXP. And you guys are all a part of that. And I'm honored to serve all of you every day in what I do. So let's get into some rapid fire questions. I mean, I love that.
Let's do it. And you know what? There might be some guests here today. So thank you for, communicating that about our organization for those that aren't familiar with what we're growing here. It's definitely appreciated. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Now, if an agent only has 30 minutes a day, only
Yes.
30 minutes,
30 minutes a day.
we
Okay.
can grab 30 minutes in our day
Yes.
to focus on social media. What do you suggest they focus on?
Um, so this may surprise you what I'm going to say first, but I like to systemize everything. And I know I'm preaching to a choir here on that, because you all look to systemize your businesses. So I would take that 30 minutes and I would break it into like 3 parts. So I would say like 10 minutes, 10 minutes, and 10 minutes. Like, what do I want to do? I would spend the first 10 minutes of that 30-minute block just engaging on social media. So whoever you're connected with on your feed, and that's probably another question of sort of the strategy around that, but you want to contribute to the conversation. Social media is a big conversation. And like any conversation in real life, if I'm the only one talking, it's not really a conversation. Conversation is a two-way back and forth. So I need to contribute to the conversation by engaging with people if I want them to engage with
Mm.
me and talk back. So I would scroll through and leave comments on posts that people are making. So if you think of your past clients, your current clients that you have engaged with and are following each other on social media, that's a time to like wish somebody the happy birthday, congratulate them on the job promotion, like make a comment on like a post, but in a like meaningful, authentic way, not a like, are you ready to sell now? I'm a great agent, right? Like you don't want to be that like idiot at the cocktail party on social media. You want to be that like true human back and forth. So that would be the first part of my 30 minutes. Second part, I'd take 10 minutes a day and I would do research. So I would be looking at what sort of posts are other people doing that are getting engagement that I can emulate. So if any of you are, Tom Ferry, students or followed him, Tom has a saying, which he probably are indeed, but the saying is R&D. So rip off and duplicate. So you don't need to be, a lot of times people will say to me, I'm not that creative. I'm like, I don't know how to do all of that. Good news is you don't need to be. There are so many incredibly creative people out there. Look at what content they're posting and then take that R&D it for yourself. So for me, like on Instagram, as an example, I save things and I have different folders set up of like ideas. I have personal ideas. I have real ideas, like real or EEL ideas, of like templates that, I can use for reels. I have a business folder. I have a motivational folder, because we think of the types of content that we are looking to create and be inspired by. So just 10 minutes of research a day. And then I spend my last 10 minutes on actually creating content. So what are you now going to post yourself? And that I might have spent more time in that actual creating, but I take that 10 minutes on like, what am I posting today? what am I putting out there to represent myself, my brand, my business in social media today at this moment. And we can dive into that a little bit more about planning things out, but there is a lot to be had for like being in the moment when something like happens that may inspire a post that you want to do or feedback that you want to give. So that would be my 10, 10, 10 to add up to 30.
I'm infamous for saving and then not going back. I don't know if anybody else is guilty of that, but I see like, oh, I want to do that. And then I save it to, my appropriate folders. So that's
Yeah.
an issue. I don't know if anybody else
Yeah.
does
But
that.
that goes back to creating a larger content creation block in your calendar. So
Mhm.
different from the 10 minutes, the daily 10 minutes, but having like, a 2 hour content block and
Mhm.
creating content
Mhm.
just in that block, like
Mhm.
turning off everything else, turning off the text, the email, the social media, that all the other noise of our day and saying like, I just banking content now and creating it, because
Mhm.
that's the hardest part is having sort of that bank of content.
Mhm.
That's where I go into my ideas, because whenever I have that content block, Michelle, I have the same experience you just described of like, okay, well, what am I going to create now? And
Mhm.
that's where I use the muscle of let me go to the ideas. I
Mhm.
save the ideas on my daily research. I
Mhm.
can come up with 10 things I want to create content on, whether that's a carousel, a reel, a green screen, a post, whatever it is. That's where I go to set up that
Mhm.
time and
Mhm.
content block.
Mhm. Okay, perfect. Well, let's go on to question number two. What are the three things every agent's social media profile should clearly communicate within 5 seconds?
Oh, goodness. I'm going to give you an exercise on this one.
Homework.
Screenshot your profile, if it's Instagram or LinkedIn or whatever, put it into your robot of choice, your LLM of choice, whether that's Claude, Chat GPT, whichever one you use, and ask Claude. I'll speak from Claude because that's the one I'm using most right now. Ask Claude to give you an analysis and rate your profile and give you, 3 to 5 ways that you can improve your profile. And it will ask you some questions, because I think it's different for all of us. There isn't like a blanket answer on this. It should tell people who you are and what you do so they know the value you would have if they engaged with you and followed you. So finding like the words in the description for that are going to be distinct to your market, to the niche, the type of business that you do, to what you're trying to accomplish on that social profile. So think about those things when you look. One of the things that um, is happening with AEO, so answer engine optimization, which is what feeds into ChatGPT and Claude, answering people's questions, because more people are going to the LLMs now asking questions than to Google. Historically, we've gone to Google and we've like typed into Google, tell me the best real estate agent in enter city. Now
Mhm.
people are going to ChatGPT and Claude and doing that. So
Mhm.
when Claude goes and gets that information to respond to that, it's looking for very specific information. So this is a takeaway to think about is the generalities of I'm a great real estate agent. My clients tell me I'm honest, I'm trustworthy, I'm a great negotiator. Those sort of general things that we would all say are not feeding the robots the way the robots want to be fed. So you want to be much more specific and much more unique in how you are representing yourself out there. So Michelle, you do a great job with this, right? You talk about like your health, your fitness, your personal experience with that. Those are all things that are unique identifiers to you. That is so much more powerful than just I'm a real estate agent in.
Mm-hmm.
So think about those nuances that make us all unique that you can put into those profiles.
Well, I love that suggestion, and I haven't done that, so I'm going to do that when we get off this call. Has anybody else done that? Drop that in the chat. Oh, someone has a question. Let's go ahead and Emily, go ahead.
Right. I missed the part where you said take a screenshot of your, was it the profile?
Yeah, of just like if you go to your profile on Instagram, for example, just screenshot that profile where you have the few words that describe you at the very top. You'll have your profile photo of that section
Okay.
and drop that in.
And then you just ask Claude, what do you think of me?
Yeah, ask Claude, like, how
Okay.
could I make this better? Yeah,
Okay.
give me
Thank
a
you.
rating on this. How could I make this better? And just like have that conversation back and forth with Claude and give me 3 ways I can improve my Instagram profile to better represent myself and my business. And Claude may ask you, like, what are you trying to accomplish? Are you trying to get followers? Are you trying to get engagement? Are you trying to get DMs? And then you'll just like
Oh,
answer those questions and it will then give you some input.
thank you.
And then ask Claude how. Like ask Claude specifically, okay, tell me how. So how could I do this? If Claude says, well, you need to like update your description. It's like, well, then write a new description for me. Like based on what you know about me, write a new description. And if
Wow.
that doesn't
Thank you.
quite feel right, say, give me another option of this. I like this part and this part, but I feel that you didn't include this. And have that conversation back and forth with the robot.
I feel like
Wow.
this is
Okay.
something
Thank you.
I feel like this is something that everyone should do, like maybe on a maintenance basis, like once every quarter,
Yeah.
would you
Yeah.
say?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I love that you guys break things down by quarter because I'm a big 90-day proponent. I think
Mm-hmm.
in terms of like business planning in 90 days, I think in terms of initiatives in 90 days, because things get lost if you
Mm-hmm.
say like this year. But one of the things I talk about, you held up the book at the beginning. One of the things I talk about in Leverage Your X Factor is a quarterly look back
Mm-hmm.
and then a quarterly look forward. And that's just taking an hour or so in your business at the end of each quarter, looking back at the quarter and saying, okay, what worked well in my business? And more than just transactions, right? You want to look at more than just like, did I hit my financial goals of the business? What contributed into doing that? And what didn't? And then you can look forward to the upcoming quarter and say, what do I need to change going forward, add, update? And I think there's a checklist of
Mm-hmm.
like reviewing P&L, reviewing expenses, reviewing social profiles. Like you can make that checklist of every quarter to go through and say like, okay, I need to make sure that I am keeping an eye on these things and that they are working for my business and for the changes that are happening in my business.
Perfect. All right. Well, it looks like Dawn has a question. Go ahead, Dawn, and then we'll go on to question number 3 when you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Wendy, would you recommend, like if Emily's going to load her Instagram profile, that screenshot, would you recommend accompanying that with for her to articulate the ideal client that she's looking for or the objective, like I want to be the number one realtor in this community? So I think if we inform that LLM
Yeah.
who we're looking for and what we want to achieve with them, then we can get a more intelligent direction.
Yes, I think that's a great addition onto that, Don. Like, yes, if you're trying to accomplish something specific, tell the LLM that so that the feedback it gives you will be skewed, right? Will be focused on that. However, I would start first by saying to the LLM, based on what you know about me, and let the LLM go do the research because the thing that will come back will help you then sort of be the base of, well, okay, I'm here. My profile, the robots think that what I'm putting out in the online world represents this, but what I want it to do is represent this. So now you can go from like point A to point B. It is very helpful to get that initial feedback. And I'm just going to say for me, here's my experience, and I've done this with a lot of other people. like brace yourself. The robots are not necessarily kind and gentle. So you might like get some feedback with that where you're like, "Ooh, ouch, that kind of hurt a little bit." But it's all to get you to a better place.
Good stuff. Thank you, Dawn.
Yeah,
All
thank
right.
you.
So we know Wendy is really knee deep in the real estate industry. I mean, you're speaking at all different kind of industry events, and you know a lot of what's going on in the market. So I'm curious, what types of content are currently generating the most conversations and real estate opportunities based on what you've seen and heard?
Yeah, I think the biggest trend that we're seeing now, speaking from a social media perspective, is moving away from the super polished, highly produced, beautiful sort of content where, we might have like VA editors, or, professionals like help sort of polish the
Mhm.
particular content. What's resonating a lot more is the like just like straight to camera talking,
Mhm.
demonstrating expertise.
Mhm.
Because what is happening is there is so much information now available to us. We can all be instant experts on any topic through the use of LLMs. That putting that out there doesn't allow people are almost becoming suspect of it. Like they discount it, right? It's like, okay, what I'd rather really see is like Michelle talking to camera, talking about how she solved a problem on a transaction that she's dealing
Mhm.
with and giving advice to other buyers or sellers on how they might avoid or work through or have an awareness of. That type of content is really leading to conversion for people more so than here's a like perfectly styled,
Mhm.
glamour. I'm like, walking through the house doing the reel. So there's definitely been a shift in what is resonating with people as more AI has come just sort of a daily part of our life.
I think a lot of agents have some issues with being like just authentic and doing exactly what you just described. But this
Yes.
is a great resource. If you have
Thank
not
you.
read this, this is a great resource to help you, I think, get over that obstacle. And I'm not just trying to throw Wendy a bone, it's facts. I
Yeah.
think it helps agents kind of identify that and really become confident in their X factor, and then that will help translate in developing the content that you just described, correct?
Yes, yes. The other thing that does is if you can let go of the hesitation, it really is freeing. So when you're not worrying about, is the lighting right? Is my hair right? Is my makeup right? Am I saying the right script? Did I misspeak? Did I add an when you let go of all of that and just have a conversation
Mhm.
like you do when you're out on showings, when you're out on your listing appointments, when the client calls you, when you're in the Starbucks and they're trying to figure out, do I make an offer, not make an offer? Are rates going to go up? Do they go down? How's the inspection? Like all the stuff that you do every day. If you can just free yourself of the, oh goodness, there's a camera recording me, and just share your expertise and answer those questions that you spend every day answering and servicing your clients with, that is super powerful.
I think that you just answered my next question. So we'll skip the next that one and go on to what is one simple weekly content system agents can use to stay consistent without feeling overwhelmed.
Scheduling. So all of the apps have the ability to schedule out content.
Mhm.
And then there's like apps like Hootsuite that allows you to like be a scheduler. You can even do it in Canva now where you can go through and schedule content. So if your goal is to put one post a day on Instagram, maybe that is like your goal. Leaving that to do every day, it's probably not going to happen,
Mhm.
right? You're going to have the best intent, But then the day is going to get away from you, and the day starts and life happens and real estate happens. And it's like, oh, what am I going to post today? And you start carrying around that like, oh, but if you can take like an hour, for me, I do this on Fridays, an hour on Friday. I try to block off at the end of my day every Friday, an hour to plan out content for the upcoming week. And then I get some content scheduled. And then I do what I call on the run content around that. So I have my content scheduled, and then anything that happens like in the moment, on the run, I may push back a piece of content. I'll give you an example. Yesterday, Dolly Parton passed away. I love Dolly Parton. Like, she has been like, I could show you, I have like Dolly books over in my bookcase here. She is such a tremendous business leader. And she has, you know, meant so many to so many people in various ways. I, on the run content, I wanted to post about that happening. So I pushed back other content I had planned to post yesterday because I wanted to like be in the moment. So scheduling content gives you that flexibility to do that. There are also days where I don't want to think about posting content. Maybe, you know, Michelle, you mentioned I travel a lot. I'm speaking. I'm, you know, representing all of you. You know, we're running the business. There are some days where I just don't have the space to think about content. So I want to know my scheduled content is going to go up, so I'm consistent, because consistency is important. But then I don't have to think about it. So scheduling is my answer.
How much time, Wendy, would you say you spend on social media content like each week? Just curious.
Maybe like 1 to 2 hours.
Really?
Yeah.
You're like
Seems
just
like a lot or not a lot?
not to me. Does that mean like
I don't know how to read that reaction.
yeah, I was like, that's it. And you're probably just really good at it. So
Yeah.
somebody messaged me and doesn't want me to mention who they are.
All right.
How do you present yourself if you're better in person and really not comfortable being online presenting yourself?
Yeah. This is a great question. I talked a little bit about like if you can just like free yourself from not being intimidated by like being on the camera like this, like how powerful that is. I recognize that's a lot easier to say than it is to do. So it's starting. And so what you may want to do is still photos of yourself. Now, again, you may be like, I don't want to take photos of myself, right? Like that's not me. So I would say if you can take still photos, then what you can do is you can provide value by like overlapping text that is your words. If you don't want to do the photos, like the real life photos, this is where AI can be helpful. So there, you know, you can use HeyGen is a tool that you can use where you can take a photo of yourself and the AI will then create different versions of it, which then is very helpful. Higgsfield is another AI tool that will do short videos. So if any of you follow me, I think on the weekend I posted a short video of me in a barrel going over Niagara Falls because I went to do a speaking engagement there on AI. And I joked with the attendees that I had to take 2 flights, a car drive, and a barrel over the falls to get to the event. And of course, the barrel over the falls is like a local reference to sort of people doing that back in the day. So the video is like a 10-second video that's all AI of me doing that. So those are like some of the ways where I think you can use AI creatively without having to be like you speaking to kind of gently step into that. You can also do voiceover of things. So, you know, on Instagram, you can pick photos. So it could be like even photos of a property that you have listed, and you can create those into a reel. And then you could do the voiceover just by talking into your phone describing what they're seeing on the photo. So it's your voice. You're adding the authentic part of it, but it's not having to be your face in front of the camera doing the video.
Mhm.
So I just think about like ways that you can just like slowly
Comfortable.
fade into the water.
Yeah. Well, I like those suggestions. And I know one of the things that I helped one of our agents, Christine Williams, that's on this call, when she first joined EXP, she had no social media presence at all. And I remember just like giving her some tools and resources and being like, you just got to put the reps in. You've got to start somewhere. And now she's like a social media just genius. So it's if I just you just got to start, right? Like it was
Yeah,
something that makes you feel
you do.
comfortable.
Yeah,
So
just start and it will. I've been hearing a lot of people talk lately about the ick factor and embrace the ick factor because it's going to feel icky, right? Like you're going to be like, oh, I don't want to, like I don't want to. You just got to embrace the ick factor and like just put it out there, and it will get better. And there will be things that you'll look back on and be like, I can't believe I posted that, or oh, that wasn't really good. And you know what? Like we're our own harshest critics. Other people are not judging us nearly as harshly as what we are judging ourselves. So if you can just, free yourself of that, it will become a lot easier.
okay, so how can agents turn engagement, comments, or story views into
Yeah.
genuine conversations without immediately pitching someone? That's a good question.
That's a good question. And it ties back to the 10-10-10 that we talked about in the 30 minutes. So that first part of it, I said was 10 minutes of engaging with other people. So if people are watching your stories, if they are commenting on your content, make sure you are commenting back. So
Mhm.
that's like the first thing you want to do because that's a conversation. You want to start that conversation. So you want to acknowledge that they're commenting. Comments are so powerful. So I'd start with that one first because they're actually raising their hand, putting the comment that you can see and engaging. So you want to raise your hand and comment back. But then you may also take that conversation into a DM. So if somebody like comments, you're going to comment back publicly, but then it might be like, hey, Michelle, and this is in a DM, like, thanks for your comment. Maybe it's about like an area of town or a listing or community info or an event, whatever it is that I posted.
Mhm.
Think about how a natural extension of that into a private one-on-one conversation happens. And don't make that about the pitching. So it
Mhm.
doesn't immediately turn into, are you thinking of buying or selling now or in the near future? It turns into like, yeah, property values have gone up.
Mhm.
This is something that I track closely. And then maybe you offer a newsletter or you like whatever it is. But that there's really is the engagement and then taking it into a direct conversation.
I'm curious, do you go like the next step with that and then add them to your CRM, or at what point do you do that?
That's where I would get into, is there something I can offer? So if it is like a newsletter, I
Mhm.
would like ask them if I could like add them to the newsletter.
Mhm. Mhm.
Or if it is like community events, I would ask them like to, add to information about that. If you have a freebie that you have on either like information on buying, information on selling, information on the various markets, information on like specialties of like luxuries or ADUs or whatever it might be, then if I have something of value to offer them, then I would offer that to them to then get them off of kind of like, in the DM of the messaging into my email
Then add them.
database and
Okay.
into my
So
CRM.
kind of get permission first
Yes,
before doing that.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Cool. All right. Well, gosh, we're running out of time. So I'm gonna maybe ask one more question and then go through the chats because we might have some living in that space too. So if every agent on this call implemented just one social media strategy this week, what would you recommend they do first?
Post consistently. Like I mentioned that like one day, like one post a day, like if you could get consistent to one post a day, if you haven't been doing that already, your online presence will change dramatically over the next 90 days. You'll start to see the difference like in 30 days. But if we think of our quarterly cycles again, that one post a day. But I'll add to that, think about what platform is best for you. Because one of the mistakes that I see a lot of agents make is trying to be everywhere all at once out of the gate. So if you're looking to ramp up and build, start with one platform first and make that the platform that most aligns with you and your business. We've been talking about video and sort of putting yourself out there. If that is an uncomfortable thing for you, don't start with Instagram. Don't start with TikTok, right? Because those platforms like feed off of that type of content. You might have a better strategy over on LinkedIn. And it's also the type of business that you do. You want to think about like, where am I likely to connect with clients? Like a lot of our commercial advisors or a lot of our agents that work a lot with investors in California, in LA, a lot of our agents that are working around the entertainment community, they are really driving a lot of business off of LinkedIn because they want to talk with managers. They want to talk with like, family office, execs. They're looking for like the business people running these businesses because they're the ones, making those decisions. Or at least influencing those decisions. So think about the platform, be consistent, one a day, and then think about the platform.
Okay, perfect. Well, on that note, I think Coach Randy Bird has a daily social media post challenge happening right now, if I remember correctly. So maybe when you get off of this, tap into his social, see what he's doing, because I think that might help all of us. Um, all right, well, we're at 10:40. Let's take a look at the questions here in the chat. Let's see, Rachel says, do you have an opinion on, where'd she go? Do you have an opinion on posting from personal versus a business page? That's actually a really good question because I made a mistake on this.
Yeah. It depends on what you want to accomplish. Generally, I say personal pages because personal pages get a lot more engagement. But if you're looking at running ads or putting money behind your content, then you're going to need business pages, generally speaking, to do that. So I think it all depends on what your goals are. But if you're just starting out, I would look at your personal pages.
Yeah, I made a mistake because I did business and then I lost all this business on my personal. So I switched back and I'm getting way more traction on my personal. So
yeah. And that is everyone's feedback. They get way more traction on their personal, which means you have to think about what that strategy is. You actually have to be personal on your personal page, right? So that's a big part of what will determine that outcome of success.
Any experience on scheduling content through Metricool, etc.? I have heard that utilizing those result in lower, less placement in people's feed due to the platform's algorithm.
Yeah. So Metricool and Hootsuite are the two that I've used the most. Yes, I've heard the same thing that posting through a scheduler can like reduce how the algorithm feels about it. The algorithms tell you no, or the platforms tell you no, except Reels on Instagram. So Instagram says that if you post through edits will prioritize and optimize the content for Instagram, which is more favorable to the algorithm. So you can schedule through Instagram content. And I tend to do anything that I've created in edits on Instagram, I will just schedule it directly in Instagram itself instead of putting it through Hootsuite, which is what I use. So I play with that, but I have seen content that I've scheduled outperform content that I've posted natively through the app. So I really don't know. I think a good piece of content is going to get the results that you want, regardless if it comes through a scheduler or comes native through the app.
All right, thank you so much, Wendy. We have another question here. It's not really social media related, more just real estate related. This is coming from Russ. He has clients who want to buy, but they're only approved for 940, while they're looking at homes around 1.1 to 1.2 million and expecting him to somehow get them 200 and 250,000 discount. Their argument is the market's slow.
Yeah.
And then you should write a really low offer. How would you handle that objection?
Oh my gosh, Russ, now you're speaking to my heart. Um, I talked to an agent over the weekend that had an offer was writing the offer with a client on a property. This property was listed for, I think, 649.9, call it 650. And his parent, the buyer's parents dads had a friend that like plays poker with, and that friend told him he should only offer 580 because the market is soft, rates are high, all the things, right? So the agent ended up then having to deal with that objection, very similar to what you're describing here. So this is like real life out there. I always go back to the comps.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to pull up the comps. So if it's 1.1 to 1.2, if that's what they're looking at for properties, you need to like do the full CMA on the properties that they're looking at and show this buyer what they've been selling for. So they can see with their own eyes, with the own data, what willing buyers and willing sellers in the last, let's call it 30 to 90 days have agreed to. If properties are listed for 1.2 and they are selling between 1 and 1.1 off of that, that's the data. So you can show them, look, they're not selling for, 950. They're not selling for 900 when they're listed for 1.1. Maybe they're selling right at asking for that, depending on your market. All of our local markets are different. But I go to the data, I go to the comps, and then because that also is like sort of arm's length. These are what other buyers, other sellers, and their agents that are in the transaction, this is what happened. This is what the market is supporting.
All right, Russ says thank you for that. And then I love that Julie Gherkin, Julie Gherkin's one of the top real estate agents in the Sierra Foothills, and she's come a long way with AI and comments. Ask Claude to do a price analysis with this objection. So good job, Julie. Thank you. And then,
Great advice, Julie.
and of course, Tom Dave says, ask chat any objection you have as well. So thank you guys for your participation in the chat. Are there any other
And ask those LLMs to coach you. They like coach me on how to handle this objection. So like that's the important part is these LLMs are like built-in coaches. Like one of the things I do with my LLM every day is my meeting notes get fed into it, and I ask it based on the meeting notes that from the day to rate my leadership and coach me on being a better leader. So all of my like one-on-ones I do with my staff, with my teams, like it's taking that and it's saying like, okay, Wendy, you did this well, but you could have communicated more clearly on this. It would have helped. So like use the LLMs as like your personal coach, and it will really help with objections like this.
Oh, that's really great advice. Thank you so much, Wendy. All right, are there any other questions before I turn it over to Jackie to introduce our next week? Let's see, maybe one more. Oh, Kristen said she just had this scenario happen. I was the listing agent and the buyer paid cash. I had to run a net sheet for my seller and counsel them on how to counter back. We ended up settling in the middle. So, yep, good job. Thanks, Kristen. All right, Jackie, let's go. Thank you, Wendy, for being here. We
You're
appreciate
welcome. Thank you guys
your
for
wisdom,
having
and
me.
I always enjoy having a conversation with you. And Wendy will be in Salt Lake at EXPCon. So if you're on this call and you're going to be there, make sure you go say hi. And where can everybody find you before I do that, before I close out?
So you can find me on the hub. So I hope that you're all in our EXP hub. That has become the central place for all information. You guys log into the hub. If you're not in there, just go to hub.exprealty.com. You'll find the login. When you get in there, all the messaging is in there, so you can message with each other. You can message with any of our support staff. We're all in there for messaging. We've got all the groups in there so that you can, connect with each other and like join your referral groups, join your state group. All of those things are in there. Plus all of our other resources you'll find. So one of the questions I always get is, where do I find out about this? Where do I find that? The answer to that is in the hub. You can access My EXP in there. You can access SkySlope in there. You can access Canva in there. There's a whole app store in there. One spot, all single sign-on. You don't need to remember a bunch of different logins. Go to the hub. So you can find me in there, follow me in there, and then you can follow me on all of the socials at Brand Wendy is my handle. So go follow me there.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you for the reminder too, because we usually invite everybody on this call to get to the hub to join our group. So we'll dump that in here in the chat for people to do. And all right, that being said, Jackie, what do we have for next week?
Thanks so much, Michelle. Thank you so much, Wendy. That was always, it's just so helpful and such a great refreshment regarding social media. So you guys, next week is our technology and AI quarter, or our huddle, and we have got the best coming. Mr. AI himself is coming, Leo Robles, and he is such an expert. In fact, he has coached. He's got an organization over 2,000, and his focus is massive growth powered by AI. So there's no one better to come and chat with us about AI so we can massively grow our business. So same time, same place, right here. You don't want to miss it. I watched some of his YouTube videos, and I just can't wait for next week. I really can't. So please join us next week, same time, same place, and you're going to get a real treat with Leo. So that's what we have. And Tom, why don't you conclude our meeting today?
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Wendy, Michelle. This was amazing. And so now y'all got your inspiration. Time to put in the perspiration. Let's go.
All
Thanks,
right.
guys.
See you, everybody. See you next week.
Good week.
Thank you, Wendy. Appreciate you. Michelle,
so
thank you, everybody.
much.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you, Randy. Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody.
Yeah.
Great job. Thank you.
Thanks, Wendy.
You're welcome. Thanks, guys.